What's up guys, it's TheyComing, and today we're going to be doing a special video. In my previous recap of Boston Tea Party, I mentioned that I made a glorious journey to Denver Live. Now, what is Denver Live? Denver Live is one of several events held throughout the year, which are part of Clash Live. Clash Live events all support children's charities for sick and needy children. So while everyone is having a blast communing and warring with clashers from all over the world, we have a root goal of raising money for a good cause. Most of our donations came in through King of the North's Twitch stream, which was running all day during the event. This means that all attacks in the Clash of Clans war and tournaments were streamed live across the entire world. If that doesn't appeal to you, then I guess you're not as big of a nerd as I am. Anyway, today is going to be sort of a hybrid video. Like I said, I picked the best 8 raids from Denver Live, and I thought we could hang out and talk about the event and do some recapping as we go. The first raid will be my new buddy Cripplin here, bringing the Town Hall 11 v11 Gobo Lalo. And while this attack was excellent in its construction, I was even more excited about the tips that Cripplin gave me during the event. He is a max 11. And he's definitely an OG of the Clash of Clans world, having been a max 10 when level 11 walls were still blue. Many of you probably don't remember those days. In fact, that was even before my time. So this should give you a pretty clear picture of his level of experience. On top of being a really cool guy, I asked his advice for planning my attack that I will show later on in the video. One aspect of the attack was a quad quake, and I was having trouble deciding the precious placement of this quad quake. And after going back and forth for a while, he said, look, it's great to plan with people, but in the end, you've got to go with your gut. If someone tells you you got to do something you aren't comfortable with or you can't visualize it, forget it and go with your gut. I ended up going with my gut, despite what he had recommended, and I smashed Crazy Movin's base on a fresh hit. I also asked him some questions about Town Hall 11, and I thought would be helpful to my clanmates. And here are some of his responses. First, I asked, what is the most difficult aspect of planning a Town Hall 11 v 11 triple? He says, accounting for random variables such as troop pathing if buildings were to be destroyed in a different order. I thought that was kind of interesting. This affects how troops travel through the base. Example, a kill squad with bowlers, and keeping in mind the bounce. This could lead to the queen not following her path. Just recently in a friendly war scrim, she walked out of a base after being unable to target things in the core as other buildings were still up on the other side, which wasn't taken out by the bounce. So Town Hall 11 is a very technical town hall. It's very easy to mess up if you get something like a single spell placement wrong. So that was interesting. My second question for him was, what do you spend the most time planning for a given war attack? And this was a little bit less clear of an answer that I was hoping for, but he says, sort of the same as one. Most time is spent in breaking down a base, spotting weaknesses, and then thinking of ways of attacking or putting something together. Personally, for me, when I look at a base, I wait for it to kind of talk to me in regards of how to hit it with different attacks and various angles. I really like that because when I start planning attacks, I definitely, if it's an important attack, for example, for CWL Light, I definitely sit down for an hour, sometimes 2 hours, or even if I'm not going to attack right away, I sit and I just let the base sort of come to me, right? How am I going to attack this base? And sometimes if it's a base I'm uncomfortable with, I say, you know what? It's someone else's responsibility. So I loved that response. I thought that was really cool to hear from him. Now, number 3, and this will be the last one. What is often the most common mistake for Town Hall 11 players in war, mechanically or conceptually? His response was, well, a lot of players are cocky or lazy. It's kind of a funny introduction to that. They still have the mindset that, quote, I am an 11. I can overpower the base, especially on dips. And then they fail. Laziness comes in when they don't fully account or plan for everything in a given raid. Also, planning versus execution is another ball game. Can't have the best plan ever, but making one mistake can cost the raid at 11 or even 10. I am from the Bye Forever family, and guys, I'm telling you, he was one of the coolest people to talk to. Really chill. I got to sit down and have drinks with him and other people. Loved hanging out with Kriplin. Anyways, so let's go ahead and start to recap a raid here. So what we have right now is Sean coming in on Queen Alicia. It looks like he brought the Gobo Lalo, and this would be a Town Hall 11 versus 11 triple. So this is really cool to watch. And as I remember, this ended up being pretty clutch, how he pulls this out. So just watch how many troops he comes down to at the very end. He's only got that freeze spell, and he's got, just a handful of loons left and minions. He drops the freeze at the perfect time. 3 balloons come over and are able to take out that Inferno Tower just in time. The haste to get away from those skellies, and then the last 4 or so balloons come over to this cannon. Meanwhile, he's dropped his minions, and the skellies are still chasing his balloons. But you know what? He has pups and minions all over the base, and eventually this is going to end up being a 3-star. It was pretty close watching the timer, as I remember. So this was really cool. We're like, oh man, time. And it also helped that the Warden barely stays alive. I mean, look at the Warden's health right there. So that was really cool to watch. Good job, Sean. I believe Sean was from WHF. Sean and Sean 2. Those are accounts that I recognize watching Powerbang War recaps. So anyways, next we have Thor coming in. Thor is going to be doing another, this is a Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10 dip. Now, of course, his 11 offense looks to be a little bit rushed, but still, this is still a Town Hall 11 hitting a Town Hall 10. So look at him here. He's bringing his king and his queen in with his Warden and some bowlers, and the idea, his plan is to try to reach in there and get 2 air defenses and the Inferno Tower. So this is looking pretty good so far. His king and his queen and his Warden are going exactly where he wants them to go. The queen is diverted though, and she walks out of the base. So he actually does not end up getting everything that he wants. He didn't even get the 2nd air defense, and he still triples. So let's watch how he does this. Meanwhile, the queen is smacking on this Lava Hound. She will have to expend the ability to kill the Hound and get these pups out. Now, if I were him, knowing what I know about these attacks, I would not have chosen to pop the Hound. I would have let the queen die and just see what happens. But, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overlooking something that he knows. So anyways, he comes in here, he drops 3 hounds, instantly gets 2 hastes down, and the hastes are going to push some of the balloons into that Inferno Tower. That looks really, really good. Haste just moving them across, they get that last air defense, and now all he has is a freeze. So he drops this freeze on, that was the clone. He drops the clone on the Inferno Tower, but unfortunately it clones a hound. So this cloned hound will not end up popping, and that makes this end up being really clutch how this ends. Luckily, he has a decent number of pups, and he's dropped cleanup minions in the south to clean up all those trash buildings. But look what happens. There's a wizard tower and 2 archer towers, but the cloned hound steps up, tanking one of the archer towers just long enough to let these other 6 balloons come over and mop up the last remaining defenses. Good job to Thor hitting Queen Diana. Thor was on my team. Good job, buddy. So let's move back over to sort of what happens at Denver Live and everything. Next, I just kind of wanted to talk about traveling to Denver. I will had to wake up at 5 a.m. and be at the airport by 6:30 in Atlanta, where I was for my break over to the United States. My flight was at 7:40 a.m. I never thought I would wake up that early for Clash of Clans, but I did it. So I get to the airport, and thankfully security is a breeze. I was a bit worried that I'd be held up for extra screening, just because I've been living in Turkey for over a year and a half, and that has happened to me in the past. Border control agents always want to keep me at each gate before I get on the plane, as well as when I get off. So I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't have to go through all of that again. So I get to my gate, and I wait. And I wait, and the plane finally arrives late. So everyone stands up and is getting ready to board. Then the bad news comes. The technicians are doing a full safety check of the plane. There were some improper instrument readings during the previous flight, so they must double check to make sure that the plane is safe to fly in. Well, thankfully they're doing that, but it basically made my 5 a.m. wake-up call useless. I could have come in an entire 2 hours later if I had wanted. So the flight was perfect, guys. The plane had Wi-Fi, so I was able to do some DE farming for my king. He's going to level 39 this week on my Town Hall 10. Super happy about that. Level 40 is just around the corner. And when we landed in the Denver airport, I come to find out that the Denver airport is the largest in the US at 52 square miles and the second largest in the world. There are also tons of conspiracy theories about hidden government bunkers deep beneath the airport. And all of this was explained to me by the guy who sold me a shuttle ticket to get to my hotel. And he was extremely passionate about it. So whether or not there are some crazy hidden things in the Denver airport, I can't say. What I can say is that 52 square miles feels a lot bigger than I had imagined. Leaving the airport is a process, guys. You will drive and drive and drive before you lose sight of the airport property. The cool part is the further you drive from the airport, the closer and closer you get to beautiful panoramic mountains. We were quite lucky to have arrived after a snowstorm had come through because most of the snow had melted, so it wasn't that cold and the skies were really clear, so the mountain range looked absolutely gorgeous. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun with that. Anyways, I happened to meet up with some of the other Denver Live participants that were on the shuttle, and we were staying in the same hotel, so that was nice to make a connection before the event even started. Anyways, guys, right now, it looks like I'm wrapping up my Queen Charge Mass Baby Drag Attack. This was the one that Kriplin had helped me on, and that precious jump placement, I decided to put it there rather than, open up, 3 tiles to the south, just because I knew the Queen was going to be able to shoot over the wall and get the air defense that was sort of around 7 o'clock. So that ended up working out great. I ended up saving the Queen ability to the very end and had 5 baby dragons left over. That was a really fun attack and super great. It felt really good to do that live in front of other people. Anyways, let's keep on moving on with my sort of story. This is actually a really great attack too. Fog Jr. attacking JSK with the Gobo Lalo Town Hall 9. So back to the event. The first thing we attended was a meet and greet on Friday night. Most of the participants came while some were still traveling, coming into town. And we met at a bar restaurant and had dinner and drinks. Partway through, Powerbang and Ash from Clash with Ash showed up, and the party really got started. They bought the bar a Dark Elixir shot, which was delicious. Not really sure what was in it, but it tasted very blue. And then later, another round of elixir shots, and those tasted like pink lemonade. So already, we're having a great time. I'm 28. I just turned 29 this weekend, by the way, guys. So happy birthday to me. But anyways, Powerbang, guys, this was honestly one of the things that I was really hoping to encounter on this trip. Powerbang is basically the same guy that you see on his YouTube channel. He was down to earth and willing to share his YouTube experiences with me, which I was extremely happy to hear about. He talked about how he started YouTubing with no knowledge of how to do anything software related and basically just learned as he went on. So that was awesome to hear. Considering I feel the same way, having been on YouTube for about 6 months now. The biggest thing that I took away from our talk was that in order to get exposure and more subscribers, is that you have to hustle hard, make videos consistently, and just keep refining your editing techniques as you go. Also, if you're having a hard time gaining views, he said you can stay the course or alter the focus of your videos to please your audience. Guys, I'm nowhere near that big enough to worry about that aspect of having to please the viewer, but still, valuable advice. For now, I'm gonna continue to do me and see where it gets me. That's gonna make me feel the best. Also, I was able to meet several guys from WHF, One Hive, and War Whales. All hilarious people to hang around with and very insightful about war strategy. Anyways, guys, let's look at the raid that just started right now. Crazy Movin' hitting Eureka Havoc. Now, I have to show this raid because a couple things, right? One serious fact that is being discussed a lot inside the war community right now. I know that, what's her name? Clash Tutor on her channel just put out a video about, is 8.5 dead, right? 8.5 is a common strategy where Town Hall 9s will first hit Town Hall 9, elect not to drop expos or upgrade much of their defenses at all in order to bolster their offensive potential. And doing this creates a mismatch in most wars for people because most casual opponents will take the route of, oh, I'm at a new Town Hall, I'm gonna upgrade. I know I've talked about this in my previous videos, but you know, this is an example of an attack where the guy, look at the defending royals in this base. The guy had 30-30 and he looks like a Town Hall 8 with almost all Town Hall 9 walls. And you see what happens, okay? This does not really benefit your team to do, okay? Because you will be expected to hit bases, you know, that look like max 9s because you have a max 9 offense. So why on earth would you really want to keep your defense this low for this long? This is the funny part I was talking about. He drops a happy face in poison spells because he just overkills the base. Guys, that is 6 spell space. He used 1 elixir spell and 1 dark spell that raid, or maybe 2. I can't think about math right now. So anyways, guys, this is an example of taking 8.5 to an extreme and why it's just not a good thing to do. You know, you have to move on at some point. I didn't necessarily agree with everything that Clash Tutor was saying in her video, and maybe I'll make a response to that. Not that she would really care, but maybe because I feel like I need to tell my viewers things that I agree with and I disagree with when it comes to sort of war strategy and how do I say this properly? Appropriate engineering, right? Tasteful, ethical engineering of a base. So anyways, next attack here is going to be Eureka Havoc attacking Effie XO. And it looks like he's bringing the Gobo Ho, or the, is that a shattered or a stoned hobo? It looks like a shattered. I think he had 2 golems. So he wrecks this base pretty good. He's got the king in the core. The queen has decided to walk out, but she's going to do some cleaning of some trash around the sides, and that's fine. He's going to have some golems tanking for him at the very end. I think he gets a little bit closer than he would have liked, but still able to pull it off in pretty nice style. So great job to Eureka Havoc. Now let's talk a little bit more about the actual event. And I might have to extend this into another video with more replays, but maybe not replays from the Denver Live War. Guys, the event started the next morning after we had stayed up and just had an excellent time drinking with new friends. And started at 11 o'clock, and everyone shows up and everyone gets registered for all their stuff, and the war kicks off. Now, King of the North sits down at his desk and starts his Twitch stream. We had a few technical issues getting that to work with bandwidth because we're in a bar restaurant. We had to do some things to make that work properly, but it ended up coming out just fine. Everything got started. The war itself kind of started slowly, but what did pick up relatively quickly were the Town Hall friendly challenge tournaments. Now, there was supposed to be a friendly challenge tournament for Town Hall 9s, Town Hall 10s, and Town Hall 11s. Guys, this is the end of the war recaps here, but I will tell you before we end the video here that I did win the Town Hall 9 friendly challenge tournament, and I was so over the moon about it because I was getting to compete with guys from real CWL clans, particularly Lars from One Hive. We had an excellent round with one another. He hit my base for 99% 2-star, and I tripled his base. Now, the friendly challenge tournament actually had an interesting sort of set of rules. When your opponent posted his base, you had to hit attack right away. You could not take time to scout, build an army, and come back. You had to hit attack right away. You only had those 30 seconds before the clock started to pick an angle and to go with an attack. So I felt really Strong and Awesome for being able to hit a 1 hive base and fresh hit 3-star with a 30-second scout. They coming to clash, buddy. So anyways, guys, that was just the beginning of what ended up being an awesome day. I am going to come back to this story in my next video and finish this up and tell you how the night ended, which was also really cool if you didn't see the stream. Anyways, guys, take care. See you later.